Chair now recognizes the gentleman from Texas, Mr. Green, Ranking Member of our Oversight and Investigation Subcommittee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I thank the Ranking Member as well, and I thank the Secretary for appearing today. Mr. Secretary, I have a basic premise that I think can add some sense of understanding to the rationale that you're putting forth, and it is that we sleep in houses, generally speaking, but we live in our neighborhoods. And what you're attempting to do is save neighborhoods, and you'll save homes as well, but save neighborhoods. Like Mr. Cleaver, I have seen areas of this country where neighborhoods are lost, completely lost, because the traditional foreclosure process literally obliterated neighborhoods. I applaud you for your efforts to save these neighborhoods, because when you save the neighborhoods, you save the schools, you save a tax base. Many communities in cities that I shall not announce because I would prefer that my colleagues address the concerns of their communities. But many cities have neighborhoods that are just completely obliterated. So thank you for what you're attempting to do. Mr. Cleaver and I are sitting here, and I could continue to hear him say 2%, and I agree with him. This is 2% of the loans thus far. And this program is still in its infancy. Is that a fair statement? Is it still in its infancy?
These changes are new. We've been dealing with nonprofits since 2013, and so it's fairly new, sure.
And thus far, give us your rendition of how well you're doing with the program, if you would, please.
Well, I think, again, through the lens of trying to meet these two goals, we're doing well, very well, on returning more revenue to the fund, the MMI fund, $2.2 billion more through DASP than we would have through our traditional real estate owned process. So we're pleased with that. However, we think that we can do more work on the other goal of ensuring that more homeowners actually stay in their homes and avoid foreclosure. So far, about 10,000 folks have been able to modify and stay in their home, and 25,000 have avoided foreclosure. And that has a good impact on the neighborhoods that you're talking about. It helps promote strong neighborhoods. We want to increase those numbers. And what we see is that these nonprofits, our largest nonprofit, for instance, has about 3 times the success rate at actually keeping families in their home. So what we're saying is that in balancing these two goals, it is worth expanding the footprint of nonprofits in DASP, and that we can accomplish both of these things.
Thank you. Just want to mention one piece of legislation, and then I want to deal with your reputation. The piece of legislation is H.R. 125, which deals with in-person servicing. This piece of legislation would allow us to have more in-person servicing. I think it's a great piece of legislation. We found that in-person contact, face-to-face contact, which is required, can make a difference in terms of how people respond to efforts to help them mitigate. Now, let's look at your reputation for just a moment. You inherited a house on fire to a certain extent. You were the fireman who came in to put out the fire. You didn't start the fire. The fire started with these exotic products and some other things that were going on in the economy. And I find it unfair to somehow accuse you of not putting the fire out quickly enough that members of Congress started. This fire was started when we allowed certain things to happen. And you came in and you've done a stellar job putting that fire out. So address this question of your allowing the fund to dip below the 2% level, if you would, with the time that I have left.
Well, number one, to FHA's credit, it was never part of the problematic types of loans that were part of the housing crisis, the ninja loans, the no-doc loans. It has always had strong underwriting. And it even made improvements, though, after the 2007, 2008 timeframe. You're right, when I got to FHA, we were underneath the 2%. When I testified here in early 2015, I said that we would get there within 2 years. We got there within a year.
Time of the gentleman has expired. The chair